Far too long has the God debate on YouTube been stalled in the semantic miasma that is the definition process for the word atheist. Endless videos have been posted back and forth that involve atheists applying the definition for the term with which they most personally identify. Theists argue back that such people are only atheists if their specific circumstances and feelings regarding God in the God debate are in lockstep with their definition of atheism that is engraved in their seemingly impregnable brains. I grow wary of watching atheists succumb to this sidestepping of the real issue by expending their energy delicately explaining what it means to not believe in God. Stop that! So often, theists ignore the varying certainty of individuals, lumping all atheists into the category of militant gnostic atheists. They commit the same mistake that some atheists commit when they think all Christians are creationists or all Muslims are violent extremists. A Gnostic atheist, which is just as arrogant and confused as a Gnostic theist in my opinion, feels that he or she knows for a fact there is no God. I consider it a foolish claim that anyone knows for certain that something does or does not exist when the very definition of that thing involves it being impossible to prove or disprove. In frustration with the theists who insist that atheism is a positive claim, many atheists find themselves shouting that it's not a belief, it's a lack of belief. I find this inadequate description for the position, though I understand why people explain it that way. It almost has to be worded that way when people are insisting that your disbelief in something is a claim that you believe it doesn't exist. Here's the crux of the issue. This definition war tends to erupt because theists wish to shift the burden of proof onto atheists, and atheists want to win the battle by default because theists can't prove their position true. Neither of these stances are really valid, though. Theists are the ones with something to prove, as they are the ones attempting to make the doubter believe. Likewise, just because we atheists aren't making a positive claim doesn't mean that we don't have to justify our disbelief. If you are one of those Gnostic atheists, then yes, you do have to prove that God doesn't exist, which you can't do, which is why I hold the agnostic atheist position. I tend to prefer being right. We are a misunderstood minority, and as such, it is our job to explain why we hold the position that we do. This is not the same as disproving God's existence. It's just explaining why we take the stance we do. So, theists, next time people tell you that they're atheists, but they don't claim to know for sure that God doesn't exist, don't waste your energy or your time telling them that they aren't atheists. The issue is that they don't believe in God. So, if you're trying to convince them that they should believe, make that your focus. It does no good to argue about the label and specific stance you might think all non-believers must fit into. All it takes to be an atheist is to be someone who doesn't believe in God or gods, for whatever reason or reasons that is. Just provide what you consider proof of God, and the discussion will be far more productive than a definition debate. Atheists. The next time a theist accuses you of not being an atheist because you don't claim to know for sure that God doesn't exist, ignore the definition issue and focus on making your position clear that you do not believe in their God. Don't be afraid to move forward from there and give all your reasons for not believing, just as you might do if someone asked you why you don't believe in leprechauns, goblins, or unicorns. I personally have no trouble explaining why I don't believe in these things. Even though you can't prove a negative nor disprove a non-falsifiable claim, you can have each side understand the other's position, present the actual reasons for their position, then weigh whose reasons hold more water. It gets to the meat of the argument much better than bickering over labels.